What I remember about Brecourt Manor, excuse me, with 11 men made the attack. Now you go back to Sobel and the training we took. We acted automatically. Automatically. We went through this 1,000 times. A lot of mistakes were made. This time I don't think no mistakes were made. I think Don, remember, Don and I was mortar, 60 millimeter mortar. Our job was to put mortar fire on those guns, keep them down. When we're done with the mortars, out of ammunition, we joined the attack. We had the machine guns on the flank, on right flank and left flank. After the mortar got done, you kept the Germans down. Machine guns open fire, that'll keep them down. You're making the attack out on open field, whatever. And they can't stick their heads up until we're close enough, start throwing grenades. Now, we didn't know how many guns there were, how many men there were. Now, if you go back to prior to D-Day, when I jumped, I found out a week before D-Day that my brother Henry was killed in action in Cassino, Italy. You can imagine when I jumped on D-Day, you didn't want to be a journeyman. That's why they nicknamed me Wild Bill. And I was a goddamn killer, pardon the expression. It wore off of me, but I was a killer that day. And I remember it, thank God we captured the 3 guns. I think before we knew it was number 4 guns. Captain Spears from D Company come up. We were low on ammunition and grenades. He took off like a rabbit. He knocked the next gun out. So we were very lucky, and I thank God for the training we got from Captain Sobel and Dick Winters too. Thank you.
Now, the 101st was supposed to operate in Normandy for about a week. They ended up being called upon for a month. Afterward, they returned to England, where they refitted, rested, and awaited the invasion of, or the liberation of Holland, German-occupied Holland. On September 17th, that day came when the men of Easy Company, the 101st, 82nd Airborne as well, jumped in to the area near Eindhoven. I'd like to now show a clip of the actual liberation of Eindhoven, the Dutch people who had been under the German yoke for several years at that point.
Snipers. We've got to get to these bridges. Hey, it's a dynamite. Well, don't get me wrong, Bill. Hey, watch this. Sergeant Talbot, let's move. We got work to do.
Now, it was for the invasion of Holland that Babe Heffron joined Easy Company. He wasn't there for Normandy. He was a replacement who came in for the Holland operation. So I'd like to ask the panel to share some of their thoughts of their time in Holland, September, October, into late November of 1944, starting with Mr. Babe Heffron.
You want kid, here's the jigger.
Well, there's not much to say. We were supposed to be there for 5-6 days, and we ended up being there for 78, and that was without a bath. Without a bath. Yes, wasn't it? But anyhow, to get on with that, It was a pleasant jump. Mistakes are made in war. If they had dropped us closer to the Wilhelmina Canal, we would have secured that. It wouldn't have held us up until we had to hit Eindhoven the 18th. We dropped the 17th. It was a Sunday afternoon. A lot of the Eindhoven people were still in Mass, predominantly Roman Catholic, the south of Holland. And when we had to wait to the 18th to march into Eindhoven, and that scene you see there on film isn't anything like it really was. You couldn't even get through the crowds. It was just, they had autograph books they were throwing at us. I would sign Mickey Rooney. I couldn't sign Cary Grant. You know, they wouldn't believe that. But anyhow, when we did, as one incident I never forgot since at my age now, Buck Compton was there, Bill Guarnere was there, and the Dutch underground, the leader, had come over to us. Buck Compton and Bill set me up right at this short canal in the village, in the city of Eindhoven, and they said, Heffron, cover that road over there. It's the only road they can come in on. And I had a light 30 caliber. It's the only, what you call a heavy weapon we had. But anyway, I covered the road. And one of the underground men come over and said to nobody in particular, just he asked for permission. I hope Buck remembers this in Malarkey, and one lung. Anyhow, he said, there's 8 Germans coming in on a wagon pulled by a horse, and they have an artillery piece in back of this wagon. Would you give us permission to knock them out? And Buck Compton, because these underground men were armed, Buck Compton said, sure, after 5 years, you deserve this. And so they went back to knock these Krauts out, and which they did. The Krauts were coming off the wagon like this, backwards. And there was one of them, and I think Buck remembers it. One of them was badly wounded in the shoulder area. He was about 19, 6 foot, blonde hair, blue eyes, Aryan, real Aryan looking. And he was holding his shoulder near where I had my gun, and he was saying, oh my God, oh my God. And I never forgot this. There's nobody can doubt it for 1 minute that it didn't happen. A little old Dutch lady, she must have been 85, 87 years old. She come over, and she had a pocketbook. And she asked him, where's it hurt? And he said, here and here. And she said, good. Whop! She hit him with the pocketbook. She hit him again with the pocketbook. And the Dutch people are watching, they're letting her go. They're letting her do this, which is proper. If you were under the Germans for 5 years. She hit him again. So they finally said, he's had enough. The Dutch people marched her off. They had to pick her up and take her out. So the Dutchman, he, of the underground, he was laughing. He said, you know, it hurt. It hurt. Do you know what she done? She had a brick in the pocketbook. I said, oh, no. Oh, yeah. She had a brick in the pocketbook. So we thought, boy, that was getting even time.